This week on the Push Pullers podcast, we talk about the intricacies of our decision making in and outside of coaching a client. Also, what TV shows are we watching at the moment? Three, two, one, and the Olympics are finished, Dan.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Dan Meek.
And me, Tom Hall. That was the hardest start to a podcast ever because Dan interrupted me three times. So
you should just run with it. It was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. Everybody's looking for the absolute quality and professionalism from this podcast. So we will, of course, maintain those high standards. We've never done anything silly. No, we're all good.
Absolutely not.
Good. Hey. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. I am good. Yeah, I'm all right. I had my second jab today. Didn't die. Not microchipped. So all okay, hopefully.
Let me Google my Dan Meek tracker. Just see where you are. Oh, in your office. Good. Okay. Good.
In my office bath. There you go.
I've got mine tomorrow, as you're listening to this today. Yeah. Lovely job. Me and Dan,
good, isn't it?
Me and Dan can start traveling across the world. Yeah,
I'll be going to Dubai soon because it's now on the amber list. So I think I've got 4 weeks after my second jab. I think I can go. I think that class is double that. Yeah. You can't literally go on the day. You get your second shot. It has to have time to build up, and all the whatever they do. Microchips shit builds up. Done it over time. So I've got to wait. So yeah, I think I'll probably go like the first week as I was back at school or something like that, maybe September. Go over there, see young Michael for the first time in it'll be a year pretty much, I think.
Jesus.
Just strange saying out loud.
Wow. Best time of your life, mate.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I've not booked anywhere to go away abroad. We're going to go to the Cotswolds, I believe, for some days in a couple of weeks. So there won't be a podcast that week, unfortunately. Last week of August.
There you go.
Yeah, be lovely. Because I was just like, I'm just not fussed until I had my second jab, and then it was 4 weeks later. I wasn't fussed about going away abroad. But yeah, just change of scenery. Just go to a spa hotel and then just basically just be like, ugh, that's what I want to do. If I'm truly honest, and just shut down for a week. Now that pretty much everything's done, PT go, boom, boom, boom. It's all lovely. But I guess we got a little rundown of what's happening today on the show. But first things first, I had a little the lovely Hut Group. That is the holding company of My Protein. They have lots of companies they own. They invited me and Luke up for Friday, which was lovely. It was nice.
I saw some of that. You had a nice meal out, didn't you? It looked like real posh.
It did look real posh. So the Hut Group own a lot of stuff. So they tend to be like, oh, we own that hotel. Cool. We'll go there. We own that country club, so we'll go there for that. So it was all lovely, all paid for, all expenses on My Protein. So thank you. Nice day. Obviously, we got to talk some business. We went to Omega, which I'm not too sure why they call it Omega. That's the last letter of the Latin alphabet, Greek alphabet. I'm not too sure. I know Alpha is the first, Omega is the last. So I'm not too sure why they call it that. But that is their 1 million square feet factory, which is just outside Manchester.
Seems a bit big.
It is a bit big, but obviously that's not just My Protein. So the Hut Group own a lot of beauty products, like brands and stuff like that. So they make all that stuff there as well. And then I was like, and
don't get that wrong. Don't mix your foundation with your Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
Fucking hell, putting that all over your face.
My biggest question was because so my girlfriend's family has some factories elsewhere, and not in protein but clothing, and I was like, why on earth? I was like, I was like, I get why you're here, but no offense. And I'm like, oh, those British jobs. Didn't understand why you had such a big factory in Britain from a cost perspective and a business perspective, especially one that large. I didn't quite understand that. So, but they did also, they have like the equivalent in like Poland, and then they have the equivalent in America, and then one more somewhere else apparently, and then like lots of scattered around. But it was cool to see the inner workings, and hands down, like God bless the people who are in there. I couldn't do that job. Just for I realize there's a lot of repetitive nature in our jobs, Dan, but there's a lot more freedom to do stuff, and I wouldn't be able to work in a factory. That is a skill I do not have, basically. So fair enough to them. We were there whilst there was like shift changeover as well. Jesus Christ, that's manic. Like people just like rushing in, like metal scanner, like worry a hotel, like the hotel, like the airport scanner, like when you're coming in and out. I had to like take out like all my earrings and all that kind of crap. So because obviously stuff's not allowed to fall out and into my protein stuff. So yeah, we got to see all that. Went to Hale Country Club, which Jordan Henderson was there. Hi, Jordan.
I mean, that's he's nobody, so I won't worry about that.
Nobody.
You know what I mean,
big. He's a big listener.
Shit footballer.
And then it was quite funny. So obviously in the world of my protein and Gymshark and nutrition and these clothing brands, they have an influencer basis where they have people who are like training with them or at their clubs based off like their influence and whatever, and they're being signed. And they were like, oh yeah, so yeah, we're gonna meet Ryan Terry. And then me and Luke just like, who's that then? Is that John Terry? Like John Terry, yeah? We're just like, and like me, especially me, like I have no
you wouldn't
idea.
have a clue who he is.
I was like,
he could have been a darts player for all you know.
I was like, he didn't look like a darts player, but or like, so obviously some of the students we went up with, so the My Protein Academy people, the PT scheme that we took up with us to like see what they've been doing as well. It was a big like last hurrah for them as a cohort. They were like, oh, we're gonna meet him, it's amazing. And I was like, couldn't pick him out of a lineup, no idea. What's he do? They were like, Olympia. I was like, Olympics? No, Olympia. I was like, oh, like the horse trials? No. I was obviously like dicking on him by then. I was like, I know Mr. Olympia or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. I was just like, I have little to zero interest in that. I'm really sorry. I just asked, I was like, is he on drugs? They're like, oh yeah, a lot. I was like, lovely. He seemed like he was a really lovely chap though. He like reposted all of like the student stuff on his Instagrams and like liked it all, commented and stuff. So fair play to the guy. Doesn't always do that. I'm sure there would have been a little push from My Protein to make sure he did, but yeah, lovely.
Yeah, that's good. Isn't it?
Lovely. Yeah, but also the offices there, what a mess. Jesus, like I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I'd be like, all right, we're sorting this out. Crazy.
I can't stand that. I hate it. But I can't be. I'm bad with my desktop. It has to be pretty much clean, like to a certain degree. I hate people like that.
I think it's very much a basis of, we went to like the MP clothing thing, and like it's just like clothing lines quite like spread all over the place, like
I suppose
all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh. I'm the guy who like I lectured one of my trainers on the weekend about like putting plates on the bar, when he was just like that. We had like 25 kilos as the base plate, and then like he'd put on like a 15, and then he put on a 10 afterwards. And I was like, Gary, what does 15 and 10 equal? He's like 25. I was like, so why haven't we put another 25 on instead of having those two plates? As soon as something adds up to 20 or 25, we get rid of it and we put that on. I was like, so we can fit more on the bar and it looks better, and my OCD doesn't go crazy.
That's the real reason.
Yeah. I hate people who are just like, I'm like, that 5 and that 10 and another 10 all add up to a perfect lovely number. Why don't you just go get that plate? Weird. Why would it'd be like, why do I carry around? It's like, Yeah, I just carry around £25 notes. No. Either 5 20s or 250s is perfectly fine. Why would you carry that many £5 notes? Like, dumb. Don't understand it. Yeah, but good. Good Friday. Long Friday. Yeah. 5 a.m. till I didn't get in. Well, we didn't stop drinking at the hotel till midnight, 1 a.m. So
that is a long old day, isn't it? That.
But Luke
a long
tapped
day for
out.
anyone.
Tapped out a little bit early because obviously Luke's got children, and he was like, "I'm gonna go enjoy the hotel room by myself."
Yeah, I was about to say.
I was like, fair play
him.
to him. I was like, we're old enough now to be like, nah, I'm all right. I'm good.
Let him enjoy that.
Let him enjoy it. Bless him. Lovely.
100%.
Right. So we're going to briefly talk about, I guess Dan wants to talk about coaching outside of sessions and check-ins and what it takes to be that kind of coach. Obviously, we've got to talk about the Olympics ending. There you go. That's talked about.
Not fussed either way.
Yeah, and I thought we'd just have a little catch up because there's been some TV shows that I've been watching. I didn't know whether Dan's box set list has grown. We always got to check in on that, like pop culture and all that. My stuff that I've been watching is not pop culture, but yeah, pretty cool. Lovely, mate. But before we go into that, we've obviously got to hit our protein bars. And
that's a given.
I've got to take out my Invisalign.
Of course you have.
Yeah.
So we've obviously been on the protein pancake hype, haven't we, recently? So I think this is the last flavor we've got to try for everyone.
Yeah, I've eaten
one of them. One of the last flavors to try, just because we want to fill you guys in with this so that you can get the best flavors. I think what we've established so far is that they're pretty much all similar-ish tasting and that they're a bit sweet and they kind of taste like pancakes, right? So
which is what I want from a pancake. So
which is actually pretty good. Well, yeah, but you say that, but I wouldn't expect it to taste like pancake. So actually, that's pretty good. But I got the caramel one just because I thought finish off this. I reckon this is going to be the best one. I've got high hopes for caramel because it should be the best one.
Okay.
Caramel
so
pancakes.
I'm going to have both of these, but Dan can help me decide which one I'm going to have first. So we have, and I thought this was pretty weird. It is an oatmeal protein pie. It is an awesome apple pie.
That's not going to be good.
Phenoflex. And they're playing pretty fast and loose with the term protein. There's 14 grams per pie at 340 calories. I
mean, that's awful, isn't it?
That is awful. That is nothing.
But I can confirm the caramel is the best one.
It is
the best
one.
Think? Yeah, I knew it would be.
See, interesting.
Such a good taste though in pancakes. Though. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think it probably replicates the most like syrup, right? I'm assuming. Yeah. So interesting. That's the one I haven't tried because that's the one my girlfriend had. Yeah. So good.
It's good. I'm gonna get more of them.
And then
I'm definitely gonna get more of them. Definitely.
I've got a pow cookie dough.
Oh no. Is that plant-based?
Yes, it is.
Yep,
it is gluten-free and plant-based. So we plant-based loving fans.
It's gonna be shit. It's gonna be shit. Watch.
So we got that. Looks a bit like turd. So that's lovely. So cookie dough, like normally, is pretty good, right?
That's not gonna be. Calling it now.
At least it's soft. Keep my mouth full. So at this point in the show, both of us are taking a bite of this. So
I can talk. Fine, I'm good. So the next one I'm going to try. That was so good, but I'm going to buy some of them because they're really nice. I think if you buy enough of them, they come to about £2 a pancake. I can just about justify that for the protein. Like if it was just pancakes normally, I wouldn't fucking pay that. Of course, I wouldn't. But for me, you have to do a cost per gram of protein, and it's actually all right. Do you know?
So with this, so you are kind of correct. This just tastes like the inside of a plant-based protein bar. That's all it tastes like.
Yeah.
It needs like the chocolatey outside layer, but it does say eat on the go or bake into a protein cookie. I could see it being okay in a protein cookie or baked basically because it's that pea protein, right? So it's like 200 calories. Was it 12 grams of protein? Still nowhere near the pancake.
Right, I've got a Gym Buddies donut, a wow protein donut, 120 calories, 11 grams of protein. It doesn't smell the best.
Look at this now. So this is my pie. That is literally. So if anybody's been to America, but also over here at L&N Bakeries, the big pink store, if you've ever been in London, they basically, a pie for them is 2 cookies and then a bunch of shit in the middle. So not really a pie.
This donut is fucking awful. But I had the other one and it was all right. I had the other one and it was all right. Do you know why? I've realized what it is looking at the ingredients, right? It's because it's made with unsweetened apple sauce. And like, obviously you can chocolate and apple. It's got a really odd taste. Really odd. Like, and smell, and like, that's not good. I'm not even going anywhere near the rest of that.
Does chocolate and apple go anyway?
No.
Does it? Doesn't. No.
Like, you get chocolate apples, don't you, at bonfire night and shit, but they're never good. Like,
you don't get a chocolate apple. You get, that's like a caramelized apple, isn't it?
Sticky apple, yeah, but some people do chocolate ones, don't they? But then I just used to eat the chocolate off it, but it's not mixed, is it? It's just you eat chocolate off it. This is
like if you're having apple pie, you don't put chocolate sauce on it. You put custard on it. You need custard.
The texture of it's good. Like the feeling, it's not dry. It just tastes like fucking awful shit.
Good work, donut people.
That's not good. But the other one was all right. I remember the other one was all right. That's not. I'm not even going near eating the rest of that. That's just going in the bin.
So this.
I want a refund on that.
This oatmeal protein cookie pie thing don't smell good. Does not smell good. So
it's not going to be. I'm putting it out there now. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. Any apple pie product I've tried as a protein bar is just not good. Like the apple crumble grenade bar is shockingly bad. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not a flavor you can get. It's just not a flavor you can make. I'm sorry, I just don't think you can get it. Your face says it all. Just awful.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I think that's what this tasted a bit like as well. Just bad. There's nothing good about it.
How has that been commissioned and gone? Yeah, we'll sell that.
Right, I don't get that with some of these things. They just throw it out. They go, "Oh, someone eat that. There's protein in it." You can't tell me they made more than one round of them. You can't tell me that they sold them and got good reviews. You can't.
Like the cookie's pretty bad, and then the shit inside it, like the apple pie crap, is just so weirdly manufactured, and then quite again bitter at the end.
Is it?
Oh, no bueno, mate. Well, I'm gonna have to let you. Cause I need like a Coke to wash the taste out.
Yeah,
I've only got water, and I'm like,
see what service we're providing here. See what service we're providing. We're putting ourselves through this so that you don't have to. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Protein pick and mix. Discontinue the pies. Don't bother. If that was chocolate, might have been all right. But I understand that. All right, mate. So moving swiftly on. You wanted to talk about check-ins and coaching outside of sessions. You'll be in my ears, but I'm going to go get a nice Diet Cola.
Yeah, so me and Mike did our webinar in our Facebook group, More Biceps, More Banter, which you can join if you want to. Go search it on Facebook. Or it's the link to my bio on Instagram, to be fair. But yeah, we're doing a lot more sort of regular content in there now and stuff like that. But anyway, we did a webinar and we sort of asked the people in the group, we said, what do you want to know about? Like, we'll give them 4 options and then we'll talk about it on a video. And they all want, we had like 48 votes or something for what we look for in check-ins. And obviously a few of our clients kind of voted for it and all that sort of stuff. So we thought, okay, cool. We'll go into what we look for in check-ins. And it kind of dawned on me as we were kind of giving the webinar and going through it, just how detailed, and how much detail we go into and what we look for, down to like what we track, down to the qualitative, quantitative data, down to how we track that data, down to what that data might mean, down to all the other variables we have to consider when working with other humans and all this sort of stuff. And it just dawned on me that I think a lot of people go into fitness or online coaching or PT or whatever because it looks easy. I think there's this perception where it's like you turn up, you write down your 3 sets of 10 reps, and then you help someone do it so they don't hurt themselves. And then that's your PT. And then likewise with check-ins, you get a video back from your coach that says, yeah, so we're going to drop calories a little bit this week because, weight stalled or whatever. And like the assumption is that it's just easy. And I think a lot of people go into it because it looks easy. And I think there's a perception that people change careers to go into fitness a lot. I'll be honest, they do a lot. And I think it's because they are passionate about fitness, number one. I think that's one of the things. But B, it's because they've had a coach or they've had some, and they make it look easy. And it only really kind of occurred to me once we were going through this webinar, just how many things we think about on a check-in in that 15-minute, 20-minute window, plus knowing your client over weeks and months and years in some respect, right? Getting a good picture together of these people as humans, as family members to their family, as people that have jobs, as people who, in fitness, all this sort of stuff, is that you're constantly adding to that, I suppose, image of this person that you've got in your head and what you believe is the best for them and all these sorts of things. But it just struck me that I don't think people understand that or see just what goes into it. I think there's an assumption when you see a good PT anyway, or a good coach, of course it looks easy. Like I said to Tom, like, much like when I watch the NBA, LeBron James makes it look easy. It's not easy though, is it? He makes it look fucking easy, but I don't go, I can be a basketball player now and be really, really good. No, I'm a shit basketball player, but I enjoy it, but I'm shit at it. Doesn't mean I'm going to try and become a basketball player as a job. And I think there's a bit of this because it is so accessible to so many people, and they've had a coach or they've had a PT and they thought it looked easy what they were doing. And that's the fucking point. If you've got a coach that makes it look easy, that's good. That means you've got a good coach, probably. It kind of made me realize that I think that's sometimes maybe what influences a lot of people to do it. And I've had a few jokes with clients before where clients have been like, oh, maybe I should just quit my job and be an online coach so I can, just do what you do and work from anywhere and all this. And I've like laughed it off occasionally, but actually it's a bit disrespectful because I think there's an assumption that what we do is easy and that it doesn't take much skill or much effort. And it only, like I said, I'm going to repeat it again, only dawned on me when we were looking at those variables and what we actually consider and what we think about, that you realize it's not just watching a video, looking at some numbers and going, right, drop calories this week. It's all the decisions that are made before that. And I'm sure that, I remember obviously being a PT, but I think Tom will be the same thing. It's like, yeah, you make your program look easy and it all flows and because you're good. Like, but you also see the form police page and that doesn't look good and that doesn't look easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's that whole thing of, I think there's some elements of it where I think it gets a bit, I think some good coaches don't get the respect they deserve, or good coaching doesn't. It's sometimes disrespected when people just think that they can be an online coach or think they can be a PT because it looks easy. It's like 100-meter sprint at the Olympics looked easy, didn't it? That looked easy. Like, that's the point. So yeah, and I think it's common. Like, I can think of a few people like who I followed on Instagram, all this sort of stuff, who dabbled with it and then now don't do it. And I think it's because of that.
Yeah, big time. I know quite a few. Yeah, definitely dropped out and either have found it too hard or haven't learned the systemized way of basically doing all those complex decision-making kind of tasks in a more natural way. Because I do genuinely believe that some people are not built to coach. And that unfortunately is the case. Doesn't mean they can still work in fitness. They can go do something else, but I wouldn't be like, you're going to be really good in front of someone. Because we have a full unit on coaching outside sessions, and it is about interpreting kind of client check-ins, what happens during a check-in, how to kind of not read somebody's body language, what kind of language are they using, are they kind of different tempos of voice and all that kind of crap. And then we talk about stages of recovery and addressing sleep hygiene, sleep kind of patterns, napping mechanisms and behavioral changes through there. And then we look at nutrition and tracking data, the steps, and working out, but like just from the nutrition log, I can probably work out what happened to that person during that week. or from their activity log, I can probably work out whether they were trying to preempt something or something happened during a certain amount of time. And then I know what the recovery mechanism is going to be. And I can kind of tell what the check-in's going to be from looking at the log as well, that kind of stuff. So there's all those little intricacies that happen in online coaching, I think, big time, because you don't have the person in front of you as much. But then like what goes into making those snap decisions during a session or for programming, for example, it did bring me to I'll try and see if I get it up, because yesterday, obviously I have my PT core gang, and we were discussing programming, and one of the tasks at the end, second screen program activity, was to basically answer a bunch of questions. And there was quite a lot in the activity, but it's all about blending like programming, working through it. And then the last thing, they were like, we're truly honest, we're like, none of us managed to answer these what we think correctly. And they were like, can you just answer them for me? Like for like the group, right? They were like, we want to know what you'd do. We don't want to know what each other would do because we're learning. It's like, we don't want to know what you'd do. Just from a brief screening notes and stuff like that, I had like 5 questions. It's like, what will your tests be to retest and add in into week 4 and 6? For example, I'm sure Dan sets out little tests and stuff like that he will think from the data that he's been given or the behaviors he's had. There'll be certain things he'll be like, that's going to be tested in weeks 4 to 6 already in a meso. Then number 2, and I was just like, yeah, this. Is what I'd look at, because I want to see whether it's got better or whether I need to start like plateauing this or moving away from this goal. What goal would I give Luke to start out with? Which people always get annoyed with me by this, I think, because I give a lot of people the same goal. Nearly, I'd say 95% of people will have the same fundamental strength movement goal for the first 4 weeks. Like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're not losing shit tons of weight. Like, I don't care.
I talked about this. Yeah, I talked about it on the. I nearly posted this on my Instagram story, actually, because on the weekend I was writing. I wrote 3 programs up at the time of writing the story. I wrote a program for an American football player. I wrote a program for a PT, and I wrote a program for a gym newbie. And I said that fundamentally they were all pretty much the same program. Like the principles are the same. I was like, because whenever someone works with me, there's a way I go about things, and it's like, I want you to be able to do these movements. I don't care what you think you've done before. You're doing these movements in this order, and I want to do these sorts of things. They didn't all get the same program, but you wouldn't be able to tell. You would, Tom. Most PTs wouldn't be able to tell which one was for which person. That was my point. Was like, shit PTs wouldn't have a fucking clue. They wouldn't know. I could look at it and know. You would look at it and know. And a good PT a smart one would probably know. But the point is that the fundamental principles of movement is good movement. Good movement's good movement. Don't care who you are. Don't care what your sport is. There are certain intricacies that as you go through a program, you will develop. Like with that American footballer, we'll go more position specific. But it's like the first 6 weeks, mate. Nah, just move well. Show me you can move well. I want videos of this, and this. Then we'll move from there. You're coming to me because you're in a position where you want to improve. So you know what you're doing isn't working. So let's do what I want. And it's just funny how I think people assume that they have to make it super specific from day one for each of those clients. Like, no, they'll all do the same, pretty much the same fundamental principles, which is, as we talk about and as you talk about explicitly on PT Core, it's that there's a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, a push pattern, a pull pattern. There's a unilateral and a bilateral of each version spread over the weeks of that training. I think they all have 3 days a week, I think it was. So you know what that's going to look like, right? You know already. You know roughly what that's going to look like. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where I was like, that's just the foundations of good movement. I don't care who you are.
So I literally,
yes, if you're,
just before this podcast, I posted up a little thing for a 2-day-a-week program. And it was just like, if you're only training twice a week, we have 12 movement patterns. Guess what you're doing? All of them. You've got 6 per day. That's what you're doing. Like, it's so simple. It's insane. Where you fit on the spectrum, different. But you've got to make the decisions as coaches, and it's not easy. We make it again look easy, but we've got that knowledge base. But everybody starts around there. But guess what? If I was training Dan, so I was training Mike, guess what? Their phase 10 programs probably look quite different, but their phase one programs probably look quite similar. And they gradually get further apart as they go. They all kind of start in a very similar place and they get further and further apart. So, and then that kind of alludes on to my question 3 was, what is the goal that the client will be moving on to in meso phase 2? So I asked them to write basically a phase 1, what would they do? And what would they be moving into phase 2? But that's obviously predicated of what you were testing and what you think they're doing. But I also purposely gave them 2 test results, which I hoped that they would be able to look at and be like, all right, he probably needs to do this. I did also predicate this by saying the coach decides the goal, not the client. So you have to decide the goal based off the results. And it was a counter movement and non-counter movement vertical jump. That's the performance test I gave them, and like a couple of like anaerobic tests of like, I don't know, interval things. But I was hoping that was kind of a red herring. But I thought they might look at that a little bit too much. I wanted them to look at the non-counter movement and the counter movement jump. It's something I assess with most of my clients nearly every month, just to guide whether I'm going into more power-based or strength-based programming. Literally it. Like every single month, somebody's going to do that test, and I don't have to do it completely like thoroughly. But if there's a big gap, guess what? They're doing strength-based programming. If there's not a big gap between the counter and non-counter movement, then they're doing more plyo bouncies and kind of recovery and athletic movements. It's really, they're like, why? I'm like, it's that simple. Literally, those 2 tests dictate a lot of my stuff. It's crazy. And how would I progress from week to week? They were kind of like, one of the things as well, little coaching tip, because obviously they're seeing some of my plans. And if you online coach with me in the next, I think I'm opening up in like 3 weeks, so September time, look out for it. If you coach with me in person, I actually only write 2 sets. In the first week, I write 2 sets to complete for each movement and each exercise. And people are like, what? That's not enough for load. I was like, correct. But in week 1, I only write 2 sets because I have to allow for coaching time, because you will be coaching that movement far more in depth in week 1 than I am doing in week 2, 3, 4. So therefore I can put more sets into those ones. And it's a nuance that people don't really understand when they're doing a new plan in personal training. Again, it's just through experience as well. And it's like, hang on a minute, that makes more sense, doesn't it? It's like, I'm probably going to take a set away from that person that they could probably be doing because I'm coaching it at that time, because I'm going to have to go through it.
And that will also allow you to build volume up quicker. So it's like, correct. In the short term, 1 set lower on 1 week might mean that you get to 4 sets within 4 weeks, right? So
yeah, and I'm like, trust me, that 1 single set in week 1 not going to kill them. Like, that's not, you're not losing your gains. Don't worry, it's absolutely fine. And like, if you're really worried about it, I'll chuck it into ESD because I know I've coached it really well, and they're going to be able to do it at a lower capacity there. It's absolutely fine. So that's like a little coaching little tip there, realizing, maybe Tom and Dan know what they're talking about. And then
we don't.
And then what would I progress from like month to month? And that's usually dependent on goal. And then because we discuss, so goal setting is a big one, isn't it? I think a lot of people don't really get. So we have like 3 in terms of the end of a meso. So I ask for a client to review. They have a bunch of questions, and they just give me a review, how they think it went, all that kind of stuff. But then I also review the data of what I think they should be doing, what I think the basis they should be going. Then I want to learn what they think they should be doing. And then I disregard that totally. No, we take it into account. And then we come to a joint decision on review. So that is the best way, I feel, because I remember putting a post up or like a story up, and there were so many people thought the most important factor was enjoyment of session and enjoyment of training. I get that, but we do want to work hard every now and again, and that might mean having a goal for a month that people are like, oh really, like they might hate ESD, for example. Like, guess what,
like me,
you're doing it. Yeah, Dan's doing it. I used you as an example in the lecture yesterday as well, the workshop. Because we were
how
talking.
great I am.
We were talking about there's something in athletic theory called the work capacity model, created by Mark Verstegen. You know who Mark Verstegen is? The founder of Exos, pretty big company, does all right. Does all right.
Might know a thing or two, mightn't he? He might know a thing or two.
But the work capacity model and how it's butchered across the world of PT in terms of resting protocols to work protocols on energy system development, so like interval training, and how, believe it or not, you're meant to rest up from either 1 to 2 to 3 times what you work in terms of the capacity. So you're trying to maintain work capacity.
Tabata, mate. No, Tabata. It's got to be 20 seconds.
Not trying to demolish it. Like, people, I don't understand the whole, like, you're going to work for a minute and then rest for 30 seconds. No, the science says you should do it the other way around. So work at the higher intensity and then rest for a longer thing, because that's going to be more beneficial. No, don't do that. But then and one of our students, Sam, was like, "That's what Dan's doing, isn't it?" I was like, because I was like, "Oh, how do you address?" I might trust them into throwing into some like overhead presses or some different movement patterns within that resting time. If I feel like they're a good enough athlete, I will extend it by a factor of 1 of work, but I'll let them do that. And they're like, "Is it like the training that Dan's doing?" I was like, "It is exactly the training that Dan is doing right now." And I bet anecdotally he will say he feels better for fucking doing it. So I was like,
1,000,000 times better. Also, as well, like you, it's amazing. I always find doing it. I've been out for a little bit with a bad back and fucking intercostal and shit, but already 1 week back in, already the second time round doing the second week, I'm like, this is easier than the first week. Easy, straight away. It's amazing how adaptable your body is. And like I found it this week. I think it was yesterday's one that I've done before. And I was like, wow, this was easier than last time I remember. Like, and I wear my Apple Watch. I'm looking at the heart rate stuff as well, which, to be honest, looking at it, I think is fairly accurate from what I can tell when I'm working, and that sort of stuff is good enough. And my heart rate is definitely lower. Like, I remember the numbers. Because you remember when you look at it, for fuck's sake, I'm dying here. And I think last time around it was near like 170 at the peak, and then now it's near a 161 or whatever it was. It's like, and I felt it. So I felt like, this was harder last time. And like I said, with my programming, it's one of those things where it's like, the energy system stuff, it's hard. And then you're doing a 300-meter run, and then it's like, so now you're going to do Z press as well. It's like, fuck off. Why? It's annoying, but it doesn't impact that ability to recover from the running necessarily. It's just annoying. I'm just like, fuck off.
I just want to sit down. You're like, no, you can do it, because like the musculature isn't actually fatigued. It's your fucking lungs that are going, and we just wanted to put you under work capacity. Yeah, it's crazy. But hopefully that kind of shows that all of the check-ins, all the coaching outside, all the programming, what we actually think about. We don't just write, Dan's doing three sets of 8. But why is he doing 3 sets of 8? What's the backstory? Why is that the movement pattern that he's done? Why have I changed it slightly? Why have I given him 2 sets or 3 sets or 4 sets or 5 sets or something like that? Why is it paired with this? Why is it particularly on that day? Is there something that we're happening? What data have we taken through activity or nutrition or sleep or whatever else you record? All, even though we might not write it down next to when we're doing it, all factors into certain decisions that we make going forward. To be as proactive, but coaching as a necessity is quite a lot of reactiveness. Because we need the data to drive those decisions, right? And always fucking fall back on your data. Jesus Christ. If you don't take any bullshit, then you have no idea what you're doing. Literally
we've all seen it. We've all seen
into the wind. Peeing into the wind, totally. Making it up. Like, if you're not taking data, you have no idea. I'm sorry, like, you can't do it. Nobody can remember that shit. You've seen a waiter when you're standing there, right? And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll remember that." And then too many people order, and then you're like, "You need to write this down, mate." Guess what? Same fucking thing happens every time you have a coach. Like, they need to write it down. Nobody's like, what do I have? Like 10 in-person clients, maybe 7. I can't remember. I know vaguely what they do, but I don't know their session plans. Don't know where they're at. I'm like,
and you shouldn't, and that's the thing, is like, I think you shouldn't. Like, honestly, the amount of times I've written a program for someone And then a couple of days later, they've sent me a message to say, "Oh, Dan, just a couple of questions about a few of the things you've written in, just to make sure that." And I always said to them, so they send me a message, and I have to send them a voice note back, and I'll send them a voice note. Let's say, for example, I'm by my computer, and they'll ask a question. "Oh, what's this mean?" I'm like, "Oh, that's what this means." Then they say, "What's this mean?" I go, "Hang on a minute, I need to check your plan." I check on it, and like, you'd think after 2 days, I've just written it the weekend, but it's like, yeah, because when you're looking at the person and the assessment and all these things, you just make that decision, but it doesn't mean I have to memorize it. Like, I've done it for a reason. It's all there, and it's like you said, it's funny. People would assume that you should know, and it's like, no, because I don't hand out the same plan to every single person, which is what other people do. So yeah, it's just funny, isn't it? How and I look back at the plan and go, there's a reason I've done it, but I don't know yet. I can't remember without looking at that person's assessment again. That's why I've done that. That's why you're doing it, a raised, front foot split squat instead of rear foot. That's why you're doing front. That's why it is. Yeah, I remember now. But it's just funny how, people think you should just know this shit off the top of your head. Like, no. Like I said, even you with 7 clients, like, you can't remember all that shit. You know roughly how well they move in certain things, but you're not going to memorize what fucking movements and exercise they're doing each day and how many reps and what weights they can lift on them.
I'm not memorizing like cable weights. That's the worst. No idea.
What do they even mean?
I don't
even know what half of them even mean still.
They change depending on brand and where you're going. You're like, no, you need to add both of those together to equal that. And I'm like, what? Why? Who made this decision? It's an awful decision to make. Like, why would they do that?
Stupid.
Yeah, we've like the Watson lat pull down they have at the Marylebone Club, and it's just numbers. So guess what I did?
Worked out the weight of them.
Worked out the weights and wrote the weights on, because I was like so pissed off. I was like, 7. I don't know what a 7 is. I have no idea. Like, fucking give me the weight. 7 what?
What was it? 35? Was it
35?
5?
Yeah,
it 5 kilos. Bucks,
I was like, you could work it out pretty easy, but people are thick. So yeah, stupid. All right, mate. So let's round this out. Let's round this show out with TV shows. Is there anything? What's Dan watching?
One thing that me and Laura have watched recently, which we quite enjoyed, which is a bit of a guilty pleasure because it shouldn't be as good as it is have you seen it on Apple TV, called Ted Lasso?
Oh, right. I think I watched the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get into it. I forgot to admit.
We it's really nice, like easy watching. You don't have to fucking think too much about it. Yeah, and it's like about an American guy that comes over to take charge of an English football team. And Laura normally wouldn't fucking watch it at all, but it's not really about the football. As weird as that sounds, It's not really about that. And just some of the characters in it are really quite funny. And it's like it's not that like laugh out loud, like hilarious, oh my god, I can't breathe type comedy. It's more just like you go, oh yeah, like you get a little chuckle every so often, but it's really easy to watch and like something to unwind to. It's quite nice, and that's got a second series out at the moment, so we're watching that.
It's got the guy who is it the Indian Asian guy? He plays the kit guy, is he? The kit man? Or
the kit guy. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, he has a character that he does because he's a comedian by trade, isn't he?
Yeah.
The teacher character he does on like 8 out of 10 cats sometimes. So fucking hilarious. If anybody YouTube him, and he does like piss takes of like he like sings like the Jurassic Park theme tune as well. It's fucking ridiculous. Then he does like a magic thing where he just constantly fucks up as well. It's so funny. He's really good. I enjoy him. But yeah, we've been watching 911. And it is the most American thing, American drama, and it's so stupid.
Is it one of those dramas in America where it follows the same pattern in every single episode?
Yes, yes. Basically, I really want to do a drinking game to it.
There's like some car chase. There's probably some car chase at the start, and then like there's something else happens. Then you think they've got you, and then oh no, and then
this one is all about the fire brigade. So it's all about the fire service. And then every single time I always ask like Chloe the question, I'm like, why the fuck have the fire brigade been called out? I don't understand. Why are they there? There's no fire. Why have the firemen paramedics been there? Where are the ambulance guys? Like, why are the police and the ambulance people not there? But so one of the students at the My Protein people is actually a firewoman. And she was like, yeah, we actually get called out the most. And I was like, do you? really? She was like, yeah. So could they change the load of restrictions based off? So the fire people have to come and like break into places now, and the police aren't allowed to do that. And I was like, oh, so you have to like just a force of entry and all that kind of stuff. You have to do it, not the police. But in America, it's like the overacting class over there. Like every single person in that thing overacts to hell. It's like, oh my God. And like so far-fetched kind of things happening, like a baby kind of like the car like flips over, and then the baby managed to end up in a tree hanging on a branch, like in the cover of the car seat, perfectly fine, just having a little cry. But it's up there, and you're like, what is it? So there's the series. There's 4 series of like 911 fire service or whatever it is. It's on Disney. Weird. And we've just moved on to the most recent one, which has got Rob Lowe in it. So it's obviously got a far bigger budget, but it's about like a fireman who has been made to go from, he was in the 9/11 stuff and all of his people died, but he didn't. And then he got asked to go do the same thing down in Austin, where the whole fire service died at some explosion. So really sad, but he tries to build it up and all this kind of stuff. But really weird. I mean, you'll know this, Dan. They made it slightly too kind of, he's a metrosexual man from New York going to the roughneck of Austin, and they're obsessed about his hair, like to the kind of weird extent. Like they've made it too much of a thing that they keep going into it. But yeah, if you really fancy a stupid watch and you like those kind of dramas, I think it's quite good.
Yeah, we watched. What else did we watch? We watched on Apple TV as well. The other one, what's that called? It's got that Rafe Spalls in it. Expecting? No, I don't know. It's about a couple that are trying to adopt a kid. They're trying to adopt kids. Quite like comedy, like not hilarious, but just like occasional chuckle and stuff. Easy watch, which is quite good. And then the other one on Apple TV, which is good, is the Good Morning Show.
Okay.
Laura started watching that, and I kind of got into it. It's quite interesting.
It is good,
quite topical, I suppose, with what's going on, like or has been recently. I don't know why we got into the Apple TV stuff. Like, it's just I think we got a free subscription for our phone. So we're like, actually, see if we got anything good.
Watching.
And of course, we still fucking pay for it now. Of course we do. Now we've seen it. Trying to think what else there is. I watched. There's a new series of Man Like Mobeen on Netflix, which is again like a stupid little comedy. It's kind of half funny. I'm trying to think what else I've watched. Last Chance U, the basketball. We talked about that, didn't we? You've talked about that before, about the American football.
Yeah.
I watched that again. That was really good.
For Isabel, me and Chloe watched Luca.
Oh, for Isabel, was it? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I can talk about it. Has she
I'm still trying to get her into Star Wars. It's not happening yet. Still trying really hard.
You can get her into the cartoons.
Well, yeah, because it's on Disney, so it's like the Clone Wars, all that sort of stuff. So
those are really good. She'll probably prefer. I mean, I've watched all of these, just FYI, guys, of the Clone Wars and all the cartoons. And if you think snob, I'm only going to watch the movies, get a life. The cartoons, like season 7 of the Clone Wars, some of the best theatrical Star Wars like that has ever been made. 110%. So fucking good. It's insane. It's for that bit, probably for adults, really, to really pick up to it. But she'll probably enjoy Rebels. That's more kiddie, but it's quite good.
Okay.
But yeah, Luca was nice. It was a good, nice little hearty movie.
What's it about?
It's like one of the like animated Disney's, like a kind of Moana-y kind of thing. But it's
I've not seen it yet.
But it's set in an Italian village, and it's about these sea monsters that want to be like this little kid wants to just come up and get accepted by the village and learn. But yeah, she'd enjoy it. I think she'd probably like enjoy it. And then what's the last one I watched yesterday was The Secret World of Chocolate. And it is basically about the history and competitive nature of all the chocolate companies and how they reacted to different chocolates that came out. So like when obviously Dairy Milk were the big guys of everything, producing most, they have total like market share. And then Roundtree brought out the Yorkie and then took like 40% of market share against the Dairy Milk, apparently from the Yorkie. And then they were talking about when Mars came out with their Galaxy and brought that. And then a Dairy Milk basically only created the Whisper as a big fuck you to Roundtree to get their Aero, because they brought out the Yorkie as a fuck you to do that. So really interesting. And then they talked about Thorntons. So obviously Thorntons of like a meteoric kind of rise as the high street retailer. And then when they started kind of having to sell stuff in stores, they didn't want to. But the guy who co-created Thorntons went a bit crazy, and because Hotel Chocolat came out and started taking their market share. And apparently he went into a Hotel Chocolat store and started like smudging all of like the truffles and stuff in a store. He started like ruining all the chocolates. The guy who owned it, went a bit mad. Yeah, interesting. Apparently they're the new one on crisps next week. So I'm going to watch that.
I just think in them Thorntons, I haven't seen anything of them.
No, I thought I don't know if they got sold or they went bankrupt.
Yeah, they're still a company. They do chocolate delivery direct to your door.
I thought they closed all their stores. I think they probably recoiled.
Yeah, they have, I think, massively. So there's one in Trowbridge, as a franchise store, Trowbridge.
Yeah.
Very strange.
They're not quite as good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the crisps one. So I'm assuming it'll be like Walker's versus like Golden Wonder, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also, I never knew that Roundtree were the people who did Yorkie and Aero. So obviously they're owned by Nestle, right? But the company, the chocolate company, is Roundtree. And you just say Roundtree, you hear fruit pastels. Like, I thought that's all they fucking did.
That's why. Yeah, jelly tots. Don't forget.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Classic. You love fucking jelly tots, don't you?
Do, mate.
Put them in the fridge or the freezer. What do you do? Put in the
fridge. Weird. Fridge is fine.
Okay. Beautiful. All right, mate. Any other business?
Not from me.
Not from me. Go check out 911. Look at how ridiculous the stories are, and please overact. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you next week.
See you later.